Self-Sabotaged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. Bumpity-bum-bums. You bumpity-biddy-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Why does he always have to make noise in the background? I don't get it. It's just crazy that way. Good morning, people of Earth. It is Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday, July 5th, 2022. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Hope you're feeling good today and rejuvenated. Me, I'm tired. How can a dog use YouTube? I don't know what that means, but that's fine. Good morning, Carl. Carl, I got nobody on today, not even Flat Earther. So if you want to join in, that's fine. No pressure. I'm not saying I'm not. Whatever. If you want to, there's definitely room here. I'll probably have a lot to say about nothing. Of course, I have a lot to say about nothing because I just love to hear myself speak. If you know what I mean. That was an old joke that from Norm. If you know what I mean. That was actually his first bit back in Star Search days. If you know what I mean. Um. Anyway. So where do we begin today? Well, 4th of July, and I'm not going to dwell on or even I'm going to try not to even touch on the depressing bullshit that happens over the holiday weekend. It might just come up in passing. Hope it does pass really quick because I don't feel like talking about depressing shit today. So, where do we begin? Well, a lot of people are on vacation this week, and I guess this is where I'm going to start off. Good morning, William. Good morning, Kelly. Uh, um, so vacation week, and a lot of people going on vacations, despite spending being prices being up, inflation, gas prices, all that kind of stuff being through the roof and crazy. Now, yesterday, there was a story on Twitter. It was on CNN on the network, and then they shared it on Twitter about how inflation and gas prices are making people cut back on their partying this holiday weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I call bullshit on that. And one thing I learned very early in life is that in tough times, people party more. The Great Depression, and I've studied this, the Great Depression was the most off the hook, well, next to the Roaring 20s, the most off the hook party time. Entertainment thrives. Partying thrives in bad times. And if you look at least in the United States, if you look at the history of recessions, every time recessions go out, entertainment spending goes up. People care less about paying their bills and more about just letting go during hard times. So I made a comment on Twitter that I was calling bullshit on that. It was all hyperbole for the entertainment industry, for the party industry, and for food spending and party supply spendings and things like that. Because if you paid attention, the grocery stores, the supermarkets were packed the last 5 or 7 days. Packed to the gills. People spending like crazy. And of course, I'm not even gonna mention his name. He's such a he's a troublemaking looking little prick who's always looking to start shit, and he's not funny, and he's a bore. He came back to me with, well, you don't live in my reality, and he didn't pay any attention to what I was talking about. He was just talking about how much everything costs for him. I said, "No, that's not what I'm talking about. Context matters." And he came back with, the snide remark, and I fucking called him an imbecile. And then he got passive aggressive and started immediately, and the rest of the day were dumb tweets about how podcasters just love to listen to themselves talk. Well, when I had him on the podcast, he did all the talking, and that was the major complaint. So I'm just going to say that. But totally ignoring the point of the whole thing, that in times of trouble, partying increases. It doesn't decrease. In times of economic hardship, party partying increases. It doesn't decrease. Um, so that was the point I was making, and I stand by that point. Now that this weekend I played a lot of gigs, different kinds of gigs all over the place, and I'm not just measuring it on the fact that people are hiring party bands and things like that, but throwing huge parties. But the people who show up at places, and clubs have been filled, clubs have been packed, and tip jars overflow. Now, there have most of the gigs I played. Now, Friday night's gig, it was just Kiera and I, and we were in a room, and the tip jar was healthy, and it always is lately. For the last 3 months, tip jars have been more full than they've ever been. And that's true with bartenders, because I talk to a lot of bartenders too. Anybody in the service industry where the tip jars are. So the idea that people are cutting back on partying because of spending is just dumb, and it's not based in any reality. It's another way to drum up fear and angst in the public, and the media loves to do that because that increases ratings. I'm not saying things aren't bad. People are hurting right now. People are, you know, struggling to pay their rent, struggling to buy food on time, struggling to uh, obviously get to work if they commute. But that doesn't mean they're not going to stop from partying. I think they're going to party more. Again, hard times make you want to escape more. So that's the point I was making. Now, lots of gigs this weekend. But when was it? Saturday or Sunday? Lose track. It's Tuesday, not Monday. Um, Sunday we had a gig that my partner Mikey booked it with an ex-employer of mine. And he told me it was some kind of business deal. There were gonna be lots of speeches. He was given an agenda, cocktail hours and speeches and things like this, and then, band plays from this segment to this segment, and there's more speeches or whatever. And so he didn't put, Kira on the gig for that, and he had, other people on the gig for that, and, no other lead singers than him. And I questioned that even before I got to the gig. When it happened, I questioned that. I don't think that was a smart thing to do. We always need more than one lead singer, and so in that case, I become the second lead singer. Not a good idea. Um. Anyway, I get there and I notice a sign on the entrance that says, "Congratulations, Lisa and Ori." And I'm thinking, well, that's the kind of thing you would see at a wedding venue. And so I questioned the management right away. Is this a wedding here today? Oh, yes, it's a wedding. Oh, so it's not a business thing. Dressed entirely inappropriate. Should be dressed for a wedding, more formal. We're not. And knowing it's a wedding, now a wedding, you need more singers, and you definitely need a girl singer on there because, you want to sing the fluffy, lovey-dovey, lovey wedding song, happy, romantic music. We got none of that. And now I'm pissed at him and I'm questioning him on the whole thing. Then I walk inside and there's two other bands setting up. This the party again. People who spend party harder in tough times. Guy hired three bands for a wedding. And we were the first one to play. We were playing 6 to 10, and we were playing outside in the courtyard. And then the two other bands were set up to play after us through the night. Open bar starting at 5 p.m., going through the night. Crazy situation. I should add that the people there were mostly from Israel. They party hard over there when they party because life is a little different when people are launching bombs in your backyard and you have a bomb shelter in your basement. Life is a little different for those people. So they when they do let their hair down, they want to go all out. And so this was that kind of party. It was a great party, but again, to my point about, you know, you don't see those kind of parties often. In times of recession, people spending on 3 bands, and it's more than you get, you charge more for a private event than you do for playing a club gig. So, expensive party, to say the least. Now, everybody there, a lot of people there were talking to us. They love the band, and on the breaks, they were talking to us, and I a lot of them were people I measured up as having some money, and I was approaching everybody with the same attitude about investing in a podcast, television show, radio show type of deal. Getting kinda arrogant, but after a while, I was kind of, really pushing it hard, so I was spending the whole time, just trying to get investors in this program. So it turned out to be, trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We'll see if anything, becomes real about that, but, anyway, so that was my weekend, and it was a busy weekend, straight through lots of gigs, parties everywhere. So coming back into it on a Tuesday morning that feels like a Monday, still a bit exhausted, tired from the weekend off, needing a weekend after a weekend, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure you know what I mean. By the way, William, we saw good if you're still in chat room, I see you were there. Heard some, I think Craig posted uh, something about some severe weather heading your way. I know you were supposed to be doing something at the rodeo grounds in Grants yesterday. It looked like hail and strong winds, but generally, when I see hail out in New Mexico, that's almost always an indication that it's possible a tornado could erupt out of something like that. And so uh, I was concerned. I hope you're all right. I hope everything went well, and I hope your weekend was safe and uneventful as far as that kind of stuff goes. I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Kevin Summers today. Kevin is 99 years old today. He's out paddling a boat in some lake somewhere in Michigan, I think. Uh, just putting that out there for him. I think it's a good time to check governors. We are on the governor's radio podcast network, whatever the hell it is. And let's see what's happening at Govs this weekend. I will share this screen and we'll talk about what's happening in the Gov. Chris Monty, uh, William says he has ducks in his front yard. You don't see a lot of ducks in New Mexico. Not that one. Here it is. Governors, I'll come back to the chat room in a moment. I'm just going to run through what's happening at Govs this week. At Governor's main room in the Division Avenue in Levittown. Uh, oops, back one page here. There we go. All right. We have uh, July 8th and 9th. Rich Voss is in the main room at Governor's in Levittown. Rich Voss, nationally known comedian. You probably know him best from the Opie and Anthony show. He was frequently on there, like all the time. And Terry McNeely will be in the Giggle Room. And July 9th, the Stars of Tomorrow New Talent Showcase will be in the Giggle Room. July 10th, is that still this weekend? Yes, that's Sunday night. Sunday Night Funnies will be there. So that's what's going on the main room over at the Levittown location and the Giggle Room, so we don't even have to cover the Giggle Room. Now, the brokerage in Belmore, uh, July 7th, the Great Long Island Laugh Off special event, which is new comedies. And then July 8th and 9th, the fabulous Chris Monty, my friend, who will be here Thursday morning with me. Looking forward to catching up with him. It's been since the Podathon, I believe, was the last time I talked to him. Um, last time I talked to him on this kind of format, but be good to catch up with him. I understand not only is he headlining at the brokerage in Belmore, Long Island, 2 nights this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. He's also starring in a movie, an independent film. He's been in several films. Chris is a star of film, big screen, small screen, and the stage. Uh, Fine actor, really good actor, and really great comedic actor. So he'll be with me Thursday morning, and he's at brokerage Friday and Saturday night. And he's starring in a movie, as I said, produced by, I believe, Goldberg. Steve Goldberg, who was on this program, is the executive producer of that. So we'll find out about when that's coming out. And then the stand-up showcase is happening July 9th as well. And I probably know a bunch of people that, and maybe we've had them on this program. They never really give you a good indication of who will be on that one. Looks like Eric Tartaglione, who was supposed to be on. I had him booked. I don't know that fell through the cracks. I think, you know what? I'm just weak sometimes when it comes to the business administration part of this. But I know Eric was scheduled on the program. He never appeared, so I'm thinking it's my fault. I think I screwed that up. Anyway, we'll move on to the Bohemia location, McGuire's, this weekend. Oh, man, some comedy happening this weekend. Friday and Saturday night at McGuire's in Bohemia, Long Island. Adam Ferrara. It's 2 nights, again, headlining there. Great comedian, nationally known comedian. You might have, he was on that cop show with Dennis Leary, most notably, I guess. Anyway, so that's what's happening at Govs this weekend. Looking forward to seeing Chris on here on Thursday. Kevin's with us. I got to, again, shout out a happy birthday to Kevin. Everybody sing. All right, if you're in the chat room, sing happy birthday in the chat room to Kevin. Happy birthday. Uh, Kevin is 99 years old today, as I mentioned, but still very active. He's out there paddling a canoe or kayak or something out on uh, Lake Superior. I lie. I lie a lot, don't I? Uh, I don't know what he's doing, and he's certainly not 99 years old. Anyway, I think he was out killing deer with a truck this weekend. That's what he was doing. Can't stand the list, but whatever his false teeth cause, it's distracting. Who? Who are you talking? Oh, Rich Voss? I don't know. Uh, I didn't know that. I never. Now I'm gonna have to listen. Uh, Carl says he'll sing for you at 10. I guess that means Carl's going to be joining us. I did ask Carl to join us before. I will send a link to the on Twitter to the. I'm going to do that right now to our podcast group thing, groupie thing. Anyway, if you're just joining me, Flat Earther will not be with me today. So I'm going to call her from now on, Flat Earther. Jesus, where the hell is Twitter? I lost Twitter. Oh, here it is. Bum, bum, bum. Brett Brock will be with me on Friday, which I'm looking forward to. Friday morning on Coffee with the Dog. Looking very forward to that too. Uh, I don't think I've ever had Brock on just me and him ever. Anytime I've talked to him, it's been generally Carl and Jamie around. Not that I mind having those guys around, but this will be my first time to actually zero in on the artiste, comedian, and host of Junk Drawer, the fabulous Brett Brock or Bart Brick or something. Anyway, so he'll be with me Friday. Good way to kick off a weekend. I left that up there. Uh, so yeah, I was correct in my psychic ability guessing that Kevin was going to be taking a river trip. I thought lake trip with kayaks. Too many podcast appearances. I listened to him on mostly Rich Fuss, Legion of Skanks. I forgot about that. Yes, he's on with Louis Gomez. Awesome. Um, Happy birthday, Kevin, from Kelly. She's singing for you. Good morning, Kat. Hope all you people had a great weekend, holiday weekend. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk about the political. Well, the tragedy of yesterday. I'm trying not to even think about that, but I did just bring it up. Louis J. Gomez. Yes, I know. It's a little early. Speaking of little early, do have a new sponsor today. Wacka Coffee, Waka Coffee, but I have to pronounce it Wacka because it is Waka. I'm going to put up the link. There's a link in the description, I believe. If not, there will be. But Waka Coffee, as you know, I have never been a big fan, or you may know, or you might not know. I think I've mentioned this quite a few times, though. I'm not a big fan of uh, instant coffee. But Wake Coffee is made for people who live busy, active lives and don't have time, either don't have time to make a fresh pot before they just want to get their coffee and run, get on with their day, get out of bed and get rolling, or they're just afraid their wife is going to get to it before them and make some really shitty coffee. So you, in case that happens, you want some Wake coffee on the side, make your instant coffee. If let's say you have a show to do and your wife has made some really lame ass weak coffee and you're like, fuck man, I got a show to do. Well, Wake Coffee is the answer. Quality instant coffees and teas are your effortless solutions to delicious drinks at home or on the go. Now, the founder's story is pretty simple. A guy named David uh, who came up with the idea of Wake Coffee while living in New York City, juggling a hectic schedule as a full-time undergraduate student with a full-time job. David relied on coffee to fuel his daily routine, as I do. However, he quickly discovered that frequenting coffee shops and making coffee in a cramped New York City kitchen was complicated, time-consuming, and expensive. So he honed in a solution that wouldn't require additional equipment and make it fast, instant coffee that doesn't suck. It's called Wake Coffee, and if you go there today using the link um, that I provide there, they will offer 20% off your first purchase, and it's a great deal. So check them out. Good morning, Craig. Good to see you here. Uh, See, now William knows how to follow some instructions here. He's singing happy birthday in the chat room, which is what I asked everybody to do. It's Kevin's birthday. May we all celebrate Kevin's birthday in glorious style today. I want to talk about something that's political, but I don't want to talk necessarily about the politics of it. I want to talk about how fucked up we all are in dealing with the political shit. It's a difficult kind of conversation for me to have. I think it's worth talking about, though. Of course, I got into a Twitter battle over it. Oh wait, Christina's here. Elton's more. Um, oh, she's singing it in whatever Dutch. No, that's what are they? What language do you speak in Denmark? She's speaking it in Denmarky. No, that's Dutch, right? I don't know. I, I know. I'm really stupid. I'm sorry. Craig says Albuquerque sounded like it was being shelled for about 5 hours last night. Hail? Oh, fireworks. Yeah, no. Yeah, that was Danish. Okay. I would like a cheese Danish if we could. Uh, Family blew up my phone. So I just got back. Danish? William knew that. Yeah, she's Danish. Um, where was it? Oh, the political shit. Now, how do I even start this conversation? Because it was so fucking. Is this it? Let me see. Yeah. So I'm going to see if I can share that first of all. Now, this is what I saw. This since we last were together. We weren't together. Um. Uh. I saw this on Twitter, and it kind of course, when you read something like this, at least for me, I get curious. So I'm just going to read what it says here. It says 10-year-old girl is raped. State forces her to remain pregnant and tells her to consider it an opportunity. This isn't Iran. This isn't Gilead. This isn't hypothetical. It happened today in Hawaii, in Ohio, in Hawaii, in Ohio. That's not funny. Now, this isn't hypothetical, is what he said. That got me. And the state forces her to remain pregnant and tells her to consider it an opportunity. A 10-year-old girl is raped. The state forces her to remain pregnant and tells her to consider it an opportunity. So I said, well, I got to know more about that. I'm curious. I want to know more. Don't you want to know more about that? First of all, how rare is it that a 10-year-old gets pregnant? Now, of course, it's possible, but it probably isn't. I'm sure it's not something that happens every day. Even in cases of rape, 10-year-old girls generally, most of them aren't ovulating yet. You need to be ovulating to get pregnant. Now, I know ovulation can start as early as like 4 or 5, actually. And there have been, I think the youngest case on record in the United States is a 5-year-old getting pregnant. But 10-year-olds are not common. 10-year-old pregnancies are not common, rape or no rape. And of course it's rape. I mean, I could see maybe it wouldn't be if it was a 10-year-old boy or a 12-year-old boy or something. That one, I guess that's technically not rape if they're both. That's a weird thing to even think about. But just fair to say that 10-year-olds don't get pregnant that often. But the state told her to view it as an opportunity. Got me curious. So I looked it up and I started Googling it. And what I got was from several months before, an Ohio state legislator had a hypothetical that said if a child were to get raped and get pregnant, they should view it as an opportunity. I thought, well, that's really odd. This state senator comes up with that weird hypothetical, which is a disgusting hypothetical, by the way, I have to say, uh, that matches the story of what this guy claimed happened that day in Ohio, like to a T. And it's so unusual, first of all, unusual for a 10-year-old to get raped. People, no matter what we think about pedophilia in this country, it's not like 10-year-olds are getting raped all over the place. It's not like that. I mean, yes, it happens. It definitely happens. But it's not happening in every fucking house in Ohio, is it? Anyway, and getting pregnant by it. And then told to look at it as an opportunity, which it says in that tweet. So I was confused by that. Like this is matching the hypothetical, and he's claiming it's not a hypothetical, it's matching it all too closely. So as I started to look a little deeper, I found out there was one source in Indiana. So this doctor in Indiana, I don't remember her first name, Dr. Bernard, something with a C, not Crystal, something like that. She's an activist. And you would expect that from an abortion doctor, an activist for women's rights. And again, I'm not trying to talk on the politics here, just how we perceive the politics. So if bear with me here on this, because I know I'm making this very long-winded, and it doesn't really need to be that. But okay, we have a narrative of a hypothetical put forth in April. Then somebody claimed, oh, the week after Roe v. Wade gets overturned, that actually happens. And the guy who brought it to my attention goes, not only verbatim about the circumstances of a 10-year-old getting raped and the state forcing her to carry to term, but also the state says to look at it as an opportunity. Now I'm thinking, in order for the state to actually say that, and if it's not a hypothetical, it had that a judge had to say this to a young girl, 10-year-old. Look at it as an opportunity, and this for the state to actually say that, there had to be a judgment. Turns out the story is that the girl was 6 weeks and 3 days pregnant. So there are details here, and somebody had to make the decision that to tell this young girl that she had to carry it to full term and look at it as an opportunity. Now I'm outraged by that. I'm like, a judge looked this young girl in the eye and said, "You gotta have this baby and look at it as an opportunity." I wanna know more. Who the fuck is this judge? And who the fuck does this judge, if a judge is involved, who are they mandating to care for this child? Okay, as fucked up as it sounds, she's going to be mandated to have this child. But who's going to take care of it after it's born? A 10-year-old? You want a 10-year-old to go out and start supporting a child, or what? Or you want it to go on welfare and the state's going to take care of it? I want to know these answers, don't you? But we have a single source in Indiana, a doctor who says this happened. But because it's a 10-year-old and it's a rape case, she's not going to divulge any specifics about it. Now, you have a really hot button story here with one source who refuses to give any details about it. And people are jumping all over this and making it a political hot potato. So I said, wait a minute, we have no fucking verification that this really happened. We have one person's word on it. All of a sudden, I'm fucking Satan. Fucking Satan. People are like, "Well, you don't believe you don't believe the girl?" I don't know. I don't even have any verification that the girl exists. We have an activist doctor in Indiana saying this story happened and giving no details about it. And well, she can't give details. Well, if there's a judge involved, she can give details about who the fucking maniac judge who mandated this child to carry the full term, have the child, and then look at it as an opportunity. We can get the name of that judge without divulging any of the private medical stuff or victim stuff. You can find out about that. And it's not wrong to find out. It's kind of important to find out about this, to hold the judge to feet to the fire and say, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" I don't care what the law is to say it. Look at it as an opportunity. What fucking kind of opportunity? An opportunity to give up your childhood and have to support a baby of rape? And did the rapist go to jail? Have we want to know that somebody who's raping 10-year-olds is going to jail for this. Maybe he should foot the bill for this if you're mandating it to have. None of these questions are being answered. So I'm the bad guy for asking questions about it. So no, this is the point I'm making here. It's not about abortion rights and all this. And as horrible as all these circumstances are about this alleged case, because that's what it is, an alleged case by one fucking source. As horrible as those details are, the bigger picture here is the way we handle political discourse. And people were calling me MAGA and Q because I wanted to ask questions. I wanted more information about this stuff because I have my doubts whether it's a real story or a made up story to further a political agenda. Oh, you're just mean hearted. You hate you're a hater. You're a MAGA. You're Q. Let's talk about MAGA and Q because let's say if MAGA or Q or anybody on the far right came up with, in order to further the agenda of a wall or keeping immigrants out, said an immigrant came over and raped a 10-year-old girl. and there was only one source and they weren't going to give out any information on it, would you want to ask questions then? Of course we would. We wouldn't accept the word of one source on anything that is tied to a political agenda. It's not wrong to question the source and say, did this really happen? And is there any evidence that this really happened before we get all trying to take advantage of it? No. And there's the other part of it. This is how fucked up we are in this country about trying to have adult conversations about solutions that work. Is you can't even ask questions about it. And then if this case is real, if it's absolutely real, then you're taking advantage of the rape of a 10-year-old girl to score political points. And if it didn't happen, you're making up a story to take advantage of the heartstrings of people to score political points. Either way, it's dirty. It's dirty fucking business. And if this truly happened, now some people brought up to the point it might not have been a judge. Now I'm almost still certain there have been articles that said this Dr. Bernard from Indiana, who supposedly performed the abortion on the girl, was the one who said the state told her to look at it as an opportunity. And I was assuming that was a judge. Some people have brought up the fact that a judge didn't have to get involved because uh, Ohio just did, right after the Roe v. Wade thing was overturned, Ohio changed its law mandating it to 6 weeks. And and they went back to that state senator who said she should look at it as an opportunity. I don't know now. I'm questioning whether the doctor actually said, "Look at it." There was a judge involved who said, "Look at it as an opportunity," or not. That being said, it's not wrong. It's not wrong to question the source when there's only one source bringing up a hot potato thing. But man, the left, the far left, and the moderate left just want to lynch me from the highest tree for asking questions without. And of course, if I say, well, turn it around and think if this was a right winger with one source trying to score political points on something like this, would you want to ask questions? Oh, you must be Q, you must be MAGA. What? You don't, and this is the problem with political discourse now. Everything's a conspiracy theory if it doesn't suit your needs, and nothing is a conspiracy theory if it does suit your needs. We're in a very dark place as far as being able to move forward in this stuff. So, um, coming back to the Danish, just for a second, Christina says we don't put cheese in our wiener bread. I don't know if it's a hey. I'm told yeah, puberty is starting young, and I know it's not. You don't even have to actually reach puberty. Ovulation can start before puberty. And it's not like it can't happen. It's just not all that common um, for a 10-year-old to get pregnant, even if she is ovulating, even if there is rape. Of course, it's going to be rape. Again, I don't know why. Sometimes the brain isn't connected to the mouth. But even if she's inseminated whilst while she's ovulating, it's not all that common. It's possible, but it's like and I don't know. I don't want to say the odds. Like I don't want to compare odds to anything. I should do the research before I give up the numbers. But it's still rare, no matter what the situation of the girl's pubescence. I don't know if that's a word. I'm just talking here. Um, it's possible, but it's not probable. It's not probable that she will get pregnant at 10 years old. And the fact that it was a hypothetical just 3 months before, when the stuff about Roe being overturned was leaked and that state senator came out with the hypothetical, it matches verbatim the actual case. a case that is pretty rare still by most standards. So, what Kelly say about that? Eight is even 8 is more common now too. To go through puberty. But again, puberty is not necessarily. You can ovulate before going into puberty. I was con- considered a late bloomer, I guess is the word. At 13, I can't even imagine. Now, I can't imagine either. If this story is true, it's horrific. If a 10-year-old girl, was pregnant and she was raped, that would, even if she wasn't pregnant, if she was raped, that's a horrific story. Now she's pregnant, that's a really troubling story, and that the state, because she's 6 weeks and 3 days pregnant, the state says, "Nope, sorry, you gotta carry the full term," and look at it as an opportunity. That's Twilight Zone. That's fucking insane, man, and it's like, it's not, she lost her childhood when she was raped. If it's true, she lost her innocence when she was raped. She was victimized then. And now the state is making a victim of her a second time, and so fucking right to life that they're going to leave a newborn infant, in the care of a 10-year-old. Do you know any 10-year-olds that are prepared to be a parent? I was 25 when my son was born. I was not prepared to be a parent. I know there are people who have children, young marriages, and they make fine parents sometimes. Most people are not prepared to be parents at 18, 20, 25, even 30 sometimes. A 10-year-old to raise a child. Now, again, this is where questioning becomes absolutely imperative. If a judge made this call, you want to know, or even if the state made this call through legislation, who are they mandating to care for this child? That's a legitimate question. Are the girl's parents paying for it? Is the rapist paying for it? Is the state paying for it? Meaning you and me. Not me and you and me, if we don't live in Ohio, thank God. Thank God. Just a very the whole story is all fucked up as can be, and there's absolutely no verification, no way to verify it, which makes it really convenient to come out with a story like that. Well, Craig says something here. Interesting that the whole story is so horrific that questioning it makes one an a-hole. It does appear to be true. How does it appear to be true? That's what it appears to be true, again, with one person saying it happened. And every story you see goes back to that one person making a phone call to the Indiana Star. She's an Indiana resident doctor. The girl supposedly went from Ohio to Indiana to have the abortion done. Now, this one doctor, Dr. Bernard in Indianapolis, is the one. She called the Indianapolis Star and said that this happened. And I'm not giving you any more details because there's a 10-year-old. That's the story. An activist doctor called the newspaper to say this happened, and I'm not telling you anymore. Now, as a journalist, you wouldn't run with that. You would say, "I need to verify before I print this," and every paper nationally and locally and every internet source in the world goes running with it, swearing that it happened, calling it a fact. You don't know it's a fact. It's unverifiable. Unverifiable, and the fact that it matches verbatim the hypothetical from 3 months earlier makes it suspect. I'm sorry. So, when you say it appears, I hope it's not true. Now that's part of the problem is people want this to be true. People with the political agenda want it to be true. As horrible as it is, they wanna believe in it. I'd like to believe it didn't happen. I'll be honest with you. I'd like to believe it didn't happen. That doesn't mean I'm if there's evidence, real evidence that it did happen besides one person, an activist word on it, I would definitely be willing to change my mind in a heartbeat and say it happened now. We know it happened. we have to fucking question the sources who made this decision in the state, whether it's a judge or a legislature or whoever, about the details of it. Not exposing the victim, not putting the victim information out there and stealing her childhood even further. What's Kevin saying here? What's dumb is they go back to the last menstruation to determine the date you were impregnated. So that 6 weeks limit, you may not even know you could lose a couple of weeks. Yeah, and days. So 3 days. Now, 6 weeks is a difficult standard. I think everybody who has any kind of sense of women's rights here, 6 weeks even is a really tough limit. A lot of women don't even know they're pregnant by 6 weeks. But 3 days over the age of the victim, rape involved, all these things, nah, we got no fucking heart. We're right to life. Yeah, you're right to life. You're making this baby be born into a miserable life, almost a certain outcome for this kid to have less than a fair shot at having a good life. Um, so if you're aware of your cycle of regular motion, you'd have two. So this is a good question, Kevin, and I don't know about this, but where the date, if they're going by the date of menstruation, couldn't you fudge that by 3 days or 4 days to make? Who's to say? Her own gynecologist is to say, right? So couldn't you fudge that, especially if it's just a matter of days to get it under the limit to make it legal there? It's really, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Not to mention her little body isn't ready. Yeah, so she's gonna be carrying a 10-year-old girl carrying to full term. Man, that and forced to. Kelly says, I am not. I should know this, and I could probably call a doctor and find out what the chances of her actually carrying to full term are. Uh, No, Craig. See, this is the problem. Seeing reports from multiple places like New York Times, WAPO's, Washington Post would assume they vet these kind of stories. No, they did not. These All those stories go back to the original Indianapolis Star story, and all they're doing is according to the Indianapolis Star, and the Indianapolis Star story came from one doctor. So all these this was my Twitter war, saying they were coming at me. What? Here it is again. Here it is again. Here it is again. It's the same story from the same source. So no, this is part of the problem too. Is the media, if one reputable media source puts it out there, everybody else gets the feed and just says, according to them, this is the story, and doesn't bother to vet any of it, doesn't bother to check on any of it. Nobody has questioned this at all. The Indianapolis Star might have asked, "You want to give us more details?" But Dr. Bernard said, "Nope, victim 10, can't do it." Now, again, man, I'm spending a lot of time on this, and I don't mind spending a lot of time on this, but because I spent a lot of time on it in the middle of the night after my gig, arguing with people who are have the same view of women's rights that I do. I think that, listen, I'm not pro abortion. I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm pro-woman's life, and I think that it's a personal choice that a woman has to make, and the law should stay the fuck out of it. So on that sense, I'm on their side with the political agenda here. I think a woman should. It's a very personal decision, and this whole idea of your fucking religion telling other people that what they can and can't do, it's just fucking ridiculous. And I'm gonna that's the other part of this whole fucking separation of church and state, and the fact that we are becoming a nation of Christian Sharia law, Christians imposing their religion on everybody else. It's just, and we're seeing it happen in real time and happen quickly. And these are the same people who are so concerned about Muslim Sharia law, the real Sharia law, being, they have a will to make us a Muslim country. Well, I don't want that. I don't want a Christian country. I don't want any religion running the country. It's if you want your religion tells you what to do, I'm okay with that. Your religion doesn't tell me what to do. It's fucked up, man. So there's that part of it. So, you know, it's a whole fucked up thing. But yeah, if those supposed bastions of journalism are not vetting, then they are Fox News in different clothing. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. This was and it's not just this story, but this story highlights exactly how political discourse works in this country. Again, you're right. They are the Fox News in a different clothing. Now, you turn the story around again. If it were one source saying an illegal immigrant crossed the border and raped a 10-year-old girl, and we have a gynecologist's word on it, and that's all we know about it, and according to the El Paso News, and everybody else picks that up and runs with it. And now right wing media is on fire saying, we need a wall because of this story. Anybody ask questions about the case? Did it really happen? Is there any proof? That would be a very dangerous thing, Kat. That would be, I would advise against that. uh, no, that's like the blind following the deaf, dumb, and blind. Me, the deaf, dumb, and blind. Um, but and according to the unfunny comedian, I just love to hear myself talk. I don't. I want to get other opinions on this stuff, but I do. I don't. I don't like it when you ask questions about this stuff with a sincere, open mind and open heart about it, and you become attacked for asking questions and saying we should know more about this before we all get the torches and start marching. And I don't think we can do that anymore in America. Maybe not in the world. I'm not really a citizen of the world as much as I would like to be. But I think we've lost the capacity as a society to sit back and say, wait a minute, before we rush to judgment, let's make sure that this case isn't Jesse Smollett, right? Somebody who with we were fine asking questions about that. And uh, yeah, well, no, but on Cat says if someone is repeating things they hear, they break down when you question them. That's very telling. That's true, but it's possible that this case is absolutely true. And I will add that if it is, questioning it helps their agenda. When when somebody is telling the truth and you question them and it proves to be true, that strengthens the foundation of whatever they are trying to achieve by the agenda behind it. So and I was trying to make that point to the people who were just arguing with me, and some of them were just fucking deaf to what I was saying and having the argument in their head that they wanted to have, no matter what I said. So you're saying the little girl is a liar? Did I say that a little girl is a liar? I didn't say I don't even know if there is a little girl. No, I'm not calling a little girl a liar. I'm not making a victim of a 10-year-old who's already a victim. I wanna know that she really exists, and then I wanna know that the guy who did this to her is paying for it, and I want the judge or the state legislature or whoever condemned her to carry the full term, I want them held responsible to and answer questions about how is this a fucking opportunity for her? So, nah, nah, no, William, you are a very astute man, as is, Kat is a very astute woman. Or a very astute cat. Um, Anyway, that's the story, and so, if you see any shit on Twitter that I'm taking for that, you know what's behind that story. I just think, and if you look into it yourself, and I'm not saying waste a whole lot of time on this, you'll see that what I'm saying is absolutely true. Every bit of the media that did not vet it. Every bit of media that reported on the story did not vet it, did not look any further than the Indianapolis Star said one doctor said so. Dangerous place to be. Anyway, we can move on from that. I think I've talked enough about it anyway. Um, you might have noticed that Kiara is not here today. Have you noticed? Oh, I called her Kiara. I meant Flat Earther. That's her official name now. She's not here today. Um, I honestly don't know why. I just know that she's not. Um, I'm assuming, I'm hoping it's nothing too serious. But whatever, she's not here. And so I have been flying solo, and I have put out an invitation for anybody who wants to join the program today. I do have good programs for you the rest of the week, I promise. Even tonight, I have Bo Bissett is on the Mind Dog TV podcast tonight, and we're going to be talking about self-sabotage. Um, and that's something. It's subconscious self-sabotage. It's something I don't think I know I have done, and I want to know why. You know, I'm curious to know what drives that kind of stuff. They if you go to traditional psychotherapy, uh, they'll call it a fear of success. Self-sabotage is a fear of success. Um, and I think there's something to that, but you have to look deeper to kind of analyze where and why. Why is there a fear of success? What does that mean? It means the trappings that success brings with it can threaten your values and principles and things that are really important to you. And I know I've done this. I know I've done that to myself on for different things in different businesses, different settings, and in different artistic pursuits. Hey, things are getting a little too big here. Starting to, and I think I mentioned it about in Cablevision. When I worked for Cablevision, I was an executive there, and in this 1998, I don't remember the exact year I walked away from that. I was making $204,000 a year, which was a lot of money in those days. And I quit with no severance package, couldn't get unemployment or anything. Walked away from that because the job, and I was getting more successful than in my mind I was ready to handle. And the stress and the vision, the perception of what it would take for me to continue on like that was overwhelming my life. So that's a form of self-sabotage. Hey, wait, I'm doing really great. I'm not meant to do really great. I'm better off being poor. And so I'm going to do it to myself on purpose, walk away from $204,000 a year, which probably in today's economy, uh, probably translate to probably $400,000 a year job. Just walk away to no income, no unemployment, no severance package, nothing. You go from $204,000 a year to zero. So, uh, maybe a happy news a 10-year-old's mom in Ohio and the kid gets in half price at the Columbus. I'm sorry for that, folks. Yeah, sometimes they should read the comments before I put them on the screen. That's probably one of them. I love you, Craig. That's um, I discovered a video. I'm just getting off that subject now. I think we're tired of, but I do. If you're intellectually curious about it, you might want to check it out. And as I say in my stupid disclaimer up front, independent fact checking is encouraged. So if you can find the holes in my view on this, I would appreciate that. I really do. Uh, Despite some passive aggressive stuff that you may have heard. I do really care about other opinions and want to learn where when I'm wrong. I want to be corrected whenever I'm wrong. Um, Sometimes it's hard to accept. Now, I discovered yesterday on YouTube Mishka Shubaly's "Am I the Only One Drinking Tonight?" Now, there are several versions of that, and I think I have heard the song, but this video that was put together from the film The Unbookables, it says featuring Andy Andrist and The Unbookables, as if Andy was the lead singer of a group called The Unbookables. No, it says featuring Andy Andrist and The Unbookables, but the video isn't is it's not the reason I really wanted to share that, and I hope people will check it out. The song, maybe I didn't pay close enough attention because the movie was so fucking boring to me. When I watched the movie, I didn't pay close enough attention to the soundtrack. But I think that's one of Mishka's best pieces of work, and I do think he's a pretty impressive artist in his genre and for what he does. I think he's a good troubadour, truth teller. I'm a fan of his, but I think that song is probably one of his best. So I shared that. That's you know, issues with Andy. They like to make recommendations. I guess I'm on that case now. I'm making a recommendation that you check out that version of it, the one that says featuring Andy Idris and the Unbookables. I shared it yesterday on Twitter and Facebook. If you follow me there, you should be able to find it. I think it's pretty cool, and I think you'll agree. If you don't agree, I'm sorry. I only want to recommend things that are. Uh, William just shared with me his first acting gig. I don't know if I'm ready to play this yet. Should I play it yet? I don't know. Should I play it on the show? I probably can. I'll probably get a copyright. I'll check it out after the show. And if it's something that won't get me in trouble, maybe we'll share it tomorrow. How about that? Um, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, Rogan. I want to talk a little bit about Rogan because last night, late last night, after all the fireworks had stopped, uh, on YouTube, I saw Lex Friedman had Rogan on again. Now, Lex is a interesting guy. He's an MIT engineer, super smart, still a little young. He's also, black belt in jujitsu and a musician and a whole bunch of other things. Um, and definitely intellectually curious, but he's also prone to gravitating towards the Rogans, the Alex Joneses, he talks more to people in academia, who are also extremists in their views. Douglas Murray, who is an absolute racist, far right wing member of academia, and it always is curious when people who don't live in an English guy who's still a British citizen, and all he's concerned with is American politics and America's racism, and America's or lack of racism in his view. That's his thing. Like, why don't you worry about your own country, dude? But so Lex had Rogan on, and it was questioning him about how it's an hour and 41 minutes, so it's not just as simple as I'm going to make it. But he's talking about his politics, talking about Trump, and Rogan was going out of his way to say he's not a Trump supporter, but Rogan characterized the Trump thing as this: people were quick to abandon their principles to attack Trump and make him the devil. But I'm not a Trump supporter. In my perspective on this, the people who abandon their principles are the Trump supporters who used to be conservatives. The Republican Party, who, and this is verifiable, all attacked Trump as not being one of them during their primaries. As soon as he won the primary, gave up all those principles to follow him blindly. So if Rogan had any clue about what he's talking about, the people who abandon their principles are the people who supported Trump, because the entire Republican Party was against Trump. They didn't even want him running as a Republican. You can check this out. This is verifiable. When I say fact check me on this. Lindsey Graham said, if we nominate Trump, we'll be destroyed and we deserve it. Who abandoned their principles? Ted Cruz abandoned his principles to suck Donald Trump's dick. All the Republican Party abandoned everything they believed in or said they believed in, because what you say you believe in and what you actually believe in are sometimes two very different things. But they all just flushed that shit down the toilet to suck Donald Trump's dick. So that's one place where Rogan is wrong. But I'm going to put together a video of 2 weeks ago. Rogan spent 20 minutes trying to convince himself and anybody who would listen to him that he was, in fact, a liberal, while praising Fox News and coming up with things that he said he was supportive of, like a woman's right to choose, which he is not really all that supportive of, or gay marriage, which he's not really that supportive of, or gay rights, and he's totally not supportive of. He's a homophobe in a big way. But so he was trying to convince the world that he's liberal. I used to be for universal health care, but he's not anymore. So maybe you used to be a liberal. Maybe you thought you were a liberal once in the past. And I'm not saying you have to be a liberal. I don't care what you are, but you should be honest with yourself and honest with others about what you are. I'm not a liberal. I'm an independent. And there are parts of conservatism and there are old-fashioned conservatism, pre-Trump conservatism, and there are parts of liberalism that I find compelling and interesting points, but I'm not going to fucking put myself in either camp. But Rogan spent 20 minutes trying to convince himself, you, me, and anybody else that he was a liberal, denying that he's a conservative. And then he endorses Ron DeSantis. You cannot have that that contradiction in your life and make it work. You can't. You cannot be a liberal and support Ron DeSantis. If you know anything about what Ron DeSantis is, now I'm not trying to convince anybody to vote against Ron DeSantis or for Ron DeSantis, no matter what you do. I'm just saying, if you vote for him, you're a conservative. Very conservative. You're very far right wing. You're not resembling a liberal whatsoever. So stop trying to pretend that you are, is all I'm saying. And Rogan is being dishonest. He's always been intellectually dishonest in a lot of ways. But that one is really, really stark. Uh, to try and convince people, trying to convince himself, I guess, that he's still somehow progressive or liberal or whatever you want to call it, label it as, when you are supporting and endorsing extreme right wing candidates. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Now, the other part of that, we're talking about how he got through people trying to cancel him. And let me just say this about that. He didn't get through it. It's not over yet. People are going to be trying to cancel him for the rest of his life or until he gets canceled. Uh, Come on, after dog talks about his son, I'm not going to talk about my son. Why would you? Why would you want to do that? Oh, Joe is my son, Joe Rogan. Um, is he? Um, that would be odd because that would mean I was like 7 when I got his mother pregnant. Where was I going with this? You got me distracted. Oh, how he got through the cancel stuff. He didn't get through it. It's going to continue. It's going to continue for as long as he holds the influence that he does. Um, and the part of it that bugs me, and I had this conversation again. I have lots of conversations, obviously. And maybe I do love to hear myself talk. No, I love to hear other people comment on my ideas and maybe give me some fresh perspective. But so he thinks he's gotten through this idea where people are criticizing him and want to cancel him because he has influence. Now, my take on this is a lot of the criticism is not necessarily to hurt him. It's to try to talk to the people who blindly follow him, the Kool-Aid drinkers who think Joe Rogan is God. And there are those people out there. And that's not an overstatement, folks. If it sounds like an overstatement, check it. Look at the Rogan cult. There are people, if Rogan says, hey, remember your mom used to say, if Billy said to jump off the George Washington Bridge, would you jump off the George Washington? If Rogan said to jump off the George Washington Bridge, there would be 1 million people today heading out to the George Washington Bridge to have a jump. Now, he knows that. He has actually admitted it, recognized it, called it out, talks about his influence, and still is lazy or irresponsible with it. That's a problem. If you are fully now, it's one thing to say, yeah, jump off the George Washington Bridge, not expecting anybody to do it and saying I'm not responsible for people who really do it. I never expected them to do it. Versus being fully aware that some people live and breathe on your command. You're telling them what to think. And if you know that in advance and you say something really irresponsible like that, you are responsible for it. And the kickback I got, and I'd love to hear uh, any feedback on this, is that he's not responsible for what people do when he says it, just because he says something. That's, to me, is false. In my opinion, that's false. And here's why that's false. Um, there are thousands of examples of people. Charles Manson went to prison for telling people to murder. Now he could claim, oh, I never thought they would do it, but he did know they would act on his word and do what he told them to do. So is he responsible? Yeah, we held him responsible. Jim Jones would have went to jail for what he was doing had he not taken the coward way out. People are responsible for the influence they have, especially when they know the influence they have is going to cause negativity in people's lives, and make them act on very negative things. And you put that out there knowing how much you control people, you're responsible. So the argument that he's not responsible for what people do just because he said, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. As a society, we've recognized that that's bullshit for forever, as long as there's been the rule of law. Inciting things, when you knowingly incite and expect those results, especially, you're responsible. And so that's my final take on Rogan. I'm done talking about Joe. If you want to come in, call. Anyway, So that's where we are today. Now, I did mention we have a new sponsor today, didn't I? Waker Coffee. Waker Coffee is instant coffee for when your wife fucks up and gives you weak coffee, and you don't have time to make a fresh pot of real strong coffee. Waker Coffee is my go-to now. Links going across the bottom there, and you can click on that. And if you use my link today, they're going to offer you a 20% off your first purchase to try it out. And there is an introductory try it for $5 thing on there as well. So you might want to check that out. Anyway, um, what else is happening in the world that I can talk about that won't get everybody mad at me? I don't know. Uh, well, I see Andy has seen that Only One Drinking Tonight featuring Andy Anderson, the Unbookables. I think that's kind of new. I think that's a new edited version of uh, the video. And Andy has shared it on there too. So now that's another place you'll be able to find it um, once that's out. So I'm just going to go through what we can expect from me this week. Now, tomorrow morning. Well, tonight, Bo Bissett, as I mentioned, will be with me. He's going to talk about self-sabotage, how to stop sabotaging your own success. Then tomorrow morning, CJ Hightower, a very funny comedian out of Atlanta, Georgia, will be joining me. And then tomorrow night, the fabulous and hysterical rock star comedian, Rasputin-like Derek Sheen will be joining me tomorrow night. And that should be fun. I haven't talked to Derek since the Potosan. Looking forward to catching up with him. Oh, yeah, there you go. Wow, Carl,
Ah,
you're all fuzzy looking.
I'm all fuzzy looking. I don't know if it's the camera or the Wi-Fi or that I'm staying in a real suspect place. So,
Oh,
yeah,
maybe it's you, Carl. Maybe you're fuzzy. I know I'm stealing Mitch
it could
Hedberg's
be.
material here, but
It could
maybe it's
be.
not the cameraman. Maybe it's not the Wi-Fi. Maybe it's Carl. Maybe Carl is the blurry one.
I think the most important thing to talk about is what's happened to Koa Coffee.
Right. How are things where you are in London?
No, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I'm in a real sketchy neighborhood in Sao Paulo, and it's fine in the day. It's in the evening. It's okay, and at night, nah, it's not good. But there we go.
Carl, let me get your perspective on American behavior on the 4th of July.
Sure.
As somebody who doesn't live here and is never been an American citizen, no desire to be an American citizen, what is your take on our this holiday? If what it is?
I've got no problem with the holiday. It just seems holidays time off work and eating food and drinking, right? That's what it should
Do
be.
you, is there any equivalent in the places you've lived where people do get fireworks? Not just have fireworks shows done by professionals, but people buy tons of fireworks, blow their hands off, burn their
In the,
houses down.
yeah, in the UK we have fireworks night, which is when we celebrate a terrorist attack on the government. Uh, so we celebrate Guy Fawkes trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. So we'll make explosions. So we have that, but it's not as big. Obviously, it's a smaller country, but people do buy their own fireworks and they do burn their hands. And I've bought illegal fireworks before under the counter at a little corner shop, set them off in the street and set off car alarms and all that stuff when I was younger. But I'm not that fussed about fireworks these days. They look cool, but these days with the computerized,
Yeah. Are they
effects,
legal?
legal.
Yeah, well,
But
because in some states in the U.S. you can go to the actual stores and buy fireworks. In New York, you still have to go to a mafia guy with a twisted nose and pay.
you can go to stores and buy them to an extent, but we found this was a long time ago, many years ago. We found a small corner store run by an ethnic gentleman who sold. People just knew that you could ask, "Can we have something else that isn't on the shelf, please?" And he would bring out something highly illegal and dangerous, probably because they haven't passed the safety test and all that, or they're way too loud or way too noisy. So you can get that stuff as well, off the market and that kind of stuff.
You're still suffering a little with the cough, I see.
It's really weird. I think it's partly psychological. I'm fine almost all the time now. When I'm talking to someone, I'll start coughing. It's weird. Not all the
Yeah,
time.
no, I get it. I think what you had was the small C, because it
No, I think
lingered with me for only one time I had it where I had any real symptoms in it, but it was pretty bad. But the after part of it, and still, it takes a while to get over that. I don't know.
I think I had it, and I'll tell you why I think I had it is because two people are around got sick straight after, and one of them had COVID that turned into pneumonia. So that's why I was like, oh shit, did I do that?
Yeah,
But they say no, it wasn't you. But I'm pretty sure two people.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So sorry for anyone that I murdered here, but I didn't know. But when I was sick, to be honest, I barely left the hotel. I left to get medicine and food once, and the rest of the time, when I did that podcast, I just couldn't think straight or sit. I laid in bed. 2 days
Right.
I was really sick, and then after that, it was just chest.
Now, have you? I know you've been to the U.S. Have you been to the U.S. between? Because if I just say Memorial Day, the end of May and like the second week of July.
No, no, I've been in mid-May, and I was only around Tampa way, and I've been in September
Yeah.
and October, so those sort of times, yeah.
Because the reason I'm asking that is because 4th of July is and the fireworks is
Mm.
not on the 4th of July. It
The whole
starts
week, right?
it starts before Memorial Day weekend, which is the last weekend in May, and goes every night and gets stronger and stronger and stronger until the 4th of July. And now for the next week or so, people will be shooting off what they didn't get to last night. But
It sounds
it's
like a bigger version of firework night for here or bonfire night. They start a couple of days before and a couple of days after, but it's not as crazy. Or sometimes around New Year as well, the same. But it's not. It's annoying if you live in a
right.
city, particularly if you've got pets and stuff.
Well, I just want to put this out there. Feel free to say Americans are fucking retarded,
Of
and
course,
I
I will.
won't.
I don't care. I'm not scared. They are retarded, but no, no. What I saw yesterday was quite funny. There was one where they had let off all the fireworks at once by accident. Was it 70,000 or
Yeah,
something like that? They were just everyone sat there with a beer and some food, and then this what looked like Russia was attacking across
yeah,
the lake. Phenomenal.
yeah. I never
No, I
have.
mean,
Uh,
I haven't got a problem with people celebrating. It is if you're doing it for weeks and weeks, that's just annoying for everyone else around.
they don't even know what the fuck they're celebrating though. They don't. Because they think,
Sure.
uh, you know, they're celebrating their independence, but they think independence means personal independence. Not what it meant was for our government to say we govern ourselves now. Britain doesn't govern us anymore. They don't get that. They think it means, oh, I'm celebrating my personal freedom. No, you're not. You're celebrating your government telling another government to leave us alone.
Yeah, it's. I think it's like that with probably a lot of holidays, though, isn't it? I mean, at Christmas, people are kind of aware of Jesus, even though he wasn't born around then. If he did exist, it was weeks before, right? They
Yeah, it's
cut
not
to the pagan festival,
right.
um, of course they murdered the pagans and then used their festival. It's weird. Uh, Christmas is different for everyone people, but it's like family, drinking, and food.
Yeah,
Most people don't think about Jesus. I mean, some people do, I'm sure, but
right. Have you ever been to Israel, Carl?
no. But I want to. I have a friend from Tel Aviv. I haven't seen them for nearly 2 years because of COVID. So I do want to go. It seems interesting. Apart from, I mean, I'm just staying away from the topic on social media because I've said a couple of things
Yeah.
about, but it's not ideal. And I say it to my friend from Tel Aviv. She was, when they were getting rocket attacked last year, she was in
Right.
an apartment block with no bomb shelter, so they were just in the corridor for 3 days listening to bombs land. And even at the time, I was texting her going,
Oh, what the hell? Get off my
um,
phone, you. Yeah. No, I get it, man. I worked with a bunch of guys from Israel who emigrated here, and I used to ask them about that all the time. Like, and to them, it's part of life. Like, I don't know how you get used to that or acclimate yourself to bombs falling or that kind of threat in your entire life. To me, I would be fucking totally crazy, out of my fucking
Yeah,
mind with
it's
stress and
small, and
anxiety. And
also I think most people, most Israeli fuck, they don't hate Palestinians. There are some people really probably do, and if it's your kid, you do. And it's political mainly. It's it's a weird thing. Of course,
you
they'll
know what?
probably side with.
I'm gonna try and lower our bandwidth rate here just really quickly, if I can, to see if I can um, make your signal a little bit better. How's that? Is that any better, folks? Talk to me. No, I broke it altogether, didn't I? Wow, I broke it altogether. I suck. How about that? That's better. No, no, no. So I guess Wi-Fi is a challenge wherever you are in that country. Um, now. The thing about the how Israel stuff. I played a wedding on Sunday night for the same people I knew from Israel, and my God, man, beautiful women. There were so many. You think I know you've commented on Brazil having beautiful women. If you the at least the Israeli ladies that were at this party, stunning beauties, stunning. Uh,
Okay, so go on Instagram, look for Israeli soldiers, female soldiers. My God, they've all got to do military service, right? That is, I mean,
if I were a single guy, I would
it's
definitely be going. That's all I'm
young,
saying.
but they've got
Well, look,
I like it. Kind of guns are
yeah,
still.
I'm pulling you out and putting you back in to see if we can fix this at all because we're breaking up. Hold on. Blah bitty blah, blah bitty blah. Nope, he's gone. We've lost him totally. This is how bad. I'm gonna have to call you. Call fi. 4 bars, 3 bars. Call. That's unfortunate. I know you want to hear from call. Anyway, there was supposed to be. Is it of Dykes and Man today? Now, if that's what calls got, Wi-Fi wise, connection wise, there may not be. This might be a problem. Um, so I hope he gets that straightened out. I think that's at 1. I want to say 1 o'clock. It's usually at 1 o'clock. I don't know for sure though. But anyway, it's supposed to be a Dykes and Man today at 1 p.m. I believe if they can make that happen. I'm a little concerned that it might not happen, seeing what Call has for connectivity. Uh, I don't know if you can hear me, Call. Of Dykes and Man doesn't look like it's going to go all too well if this is your connectivity today, unless you go someplace else to do it from.
Yeah, I can do my phone of that.
Yeah, no, your Wi-Fi is lamer than Jamie Dykes' ability to stay up late at night. That's my nice little analogy. Comparing Call's connectivity to Jamie's ability to stay awake late at night. See, we lost him. Anyway, I'll just keep talking. Call can do. I probably should end this one a little early today. I appreciate everybody being here. Let's see what we can do to. Uh, I don't know. I'm gonna download this thing from William. Wow, huge files here. Oh, sorry, you're having a little trouble, William. I'm trying to download your video, oh, here it goes. Now it's downloading. Anyway, I'll probably play that for you tomorrow. William's acting debut. What uh what was the question you wanted Call to answer, Kelly? I don't. Oh, looks like Call's better now. Oh yeah, that looks better. You're not fuzzy. What happened?
Data, baby.
Oh.
My child's drank.
Ah. Well, anyway, Kelly wanted you to answer a question, but she didn't say I won't. She has a question I won't answered. I think she meant one answered, but I don't know what it was. So I think probably how big it is. Oh, his doctorate.
Yeah, how
Oh,
big
the
it is.
doctorate. This is what I wanted to question you about. On your last episode with Brett Brock late at night, before I joined that conversation, you were talking about this relationship that you had and blah 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 blah, and
Yeah.
how the girl helped you through getting your degree, and then you said and I'm not sure if I heard it correctly. I could have sworn you said she even helped me get a PhD. Do you have a fucking PhD and I'm just finding out about it?
Yes.
Dr. Carl?
No, I don't. As soon as I came out of the exam, someone said that to me, and I said, "Don't ever say that again." And I don't talk about it much, just because I fell out with everyone, and I walked away from something that was annoying to me and some people that were annoying to me. But if you want to talk about it briefly, we can talk about it. It was
Well, I think it's
weird.
something to be proud of, and I, you know what? Degrees don't make the person. I understand that, but if that's the case, I don't know, I even higher esteem for you than I did before. I don't know if that's necessarily accurate, but I'm impressed. That's all. I'm impressed by that. I mean, I'm surprised that it took me a fucking 2 years or a year and a half, 18 months to find that out.
Yeah, I don't talk about it. That's why it's not
Yeah.
on anywhere. There's probably there's a website I can send where it's got my stuff from like 11 years ago, and I can send some stuff. But I went back to uni or college late. I didn't study at 18. I did manual jobs. I moved to a city called Southampton in the UK, where the Titanic sailed from, and messing around for a couple of years, and then I decided to go back to school. Got into college, I guess, and then while I was there, I intended to go into clinical stuff. And while I was there, we couldn't get funding for that, so they happened to have certain contracts with the military and some other people. So a professor just said to me one day, because I used to work in the lab every summer, they just said to me, "Do you want some money?" And I said, "Yeah," and that's how I got my funding. And then I did that for 4 years, and it was cool. It was fun. It was hard. We did some fun stuff. I was working with visual search and memory on complex tasks. So experts doing stuff. Soldiers looking for bombs, engineers looking at stuff. And it was quite interesting. But the way it ended was really bad. Like on a personal level with me and some senior people from there. But yeah, that's why I went to Tampa. I went there to a conference in like 2014 on the beach. So yeah, I did that a few years, and then I got another job in that kind of field sideways, but I was disillusioned by a lot of it, so I kind of walked away from that. But I used a lot of the stuff I learned to earn money elsewhere in IT or
I
coding
think
and
it's
stuff.
fair to say that alcohol works on you like truth serum. What's that? Sodium? What is the actual truth serum that gets
Yeah,
people? But basically, if we get you drunk enough, we can get deep into your subconscious and get you to like confess everything about your
I'll tell you
darkest.
about the year that I spent in blackface. It took some time for me.
Now,
Yeah, no, I just think of stuff. It's weird. I just think of stuff when I'm hammered that I don't think of that much sober. It's all we're having conversations, and I think, oh, I'll say that. But for the most part, I've blocked it out when I'm sober. That's why I don't talk about it. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I did it, and it helped me earn money after that. But it was cool. I'm happy to talk about it more. We did some fun stuff. We did some stuff.
Brett said he wants to see the peer reviews.
I can send a paper or two, but the thing is, some of the stuff I worked with was very complicated. So it took years to get published, and what it ended up being wasn't really how it was when I worked on it, because it's a
Sodium pentothal. Thank you, Christina. And where could I get a like a box full of sodium pentothal? Because I know lots of people I would love to give it to. I wonder if it would work on me. Would I actually confess where the bodies are buried if somebody gave me a?
Is that so? That's like true serum, right? So the way it works, doesn't it just really relax you and get you so fucking high? You're like, sure, I'll tell you that. No worries, man.
Well, here's the thing about that, because my mom one time picked me up. She gave me a ride home after dental surgery, oral surgery, and I was still under anesthesia. And according to my mom, I told her I really loved this girl that I was seeing at the time, and I didn't. So to me, like I was just talking. The anesthesia was loosening me up to a point where I was talking shit, but I was talking shit. I was lying, even though the idea, and my mom went and shared that with the girl. Said he said under anesthesia he was blabbering on about how he really loves you, so it must be true. No, I was bullshit. It makes me more of a bullshit artist. Oh, we lost your volume. You're muted.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I muted the cough. It's the
Yeah.
same with booze, though. You can develop fantasies or go. I've got so fucking confused. I've mixed people up before when I've been out blackout drunk when I was younger, like completely talking to someone and I thought they're another human for an hour. It's just, yeah, it's weird.
Sugar Cat says her cookies have been called truth. Now I've eaten her cookies. As a matter of fact, I think when we went to Stanhope, she gave me a bunch of cookies that she made. I think she told me only not to eat them all at once, but I did. I did, and I don't remember like it having truth serum effect on me. It did have the edible effect on me, which is basically, giggly. I get really giggly and stupid,
Yeah.
but special cookies. Yeah, Kelly, she makes pot cookies.
I got last time I took edibles, they were homemade from somewhere, and I just got really deep and had weird hallucinogenic kind of dreams, but kind of not. Kind of when I was awake, and it was just really trippy. But I was just laid down for hours, for like 4 hours, and then I felt sick when I stood up. That was my last experience.
I expressed this to Kat and Steve when we were at Stanhope, because they make edibles of their own. I'm not. To me, it's a risk. It's not like a major risk. But you're risking an ounce of really good weed, and you don't know that you're going to do it right. And like I could be just throwing this. I could be wasting $400 or $500.
You can get good at it. I know people that are phenomenal. Actually,
I can't get good at anything.
We don't know the name, but the person I was talking about in Israel, it's a female. She's a professional. She does some kind of job. I don't even know what it is. I've known her for years. But on the side in Israel, she sells weed cookies. But she is a phenomenal, like a master baker, not a masturbator, a master baker.
Maybe she's both.
I think so. I like to think so.
Take a little cookie and rub it in
she
there.
makes. I'll send you some pictures. She makes like expert chocolates that are beautifully shaped and perfect, but she also does them with weed in as well. So I'm going to try. She does come to the UK quite a bit, but I missed her. She was there when I was out here. But I'm going to try and get her to make some in the UK if I can get some decent weed, because it's just they look so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm gonna amend, because you said you can get good at it. Now, I think people could get good at it is more accurate, but there are people like Andy Andrus and me who can't grow weed, and weed should grow without any help because it's a fucking weed. But there are some people who just can't get good at anything, and like people like me and Andy fall into that category. So you say you could get good at it. I can't get good at it.
I think to make weed good enough, a lot of people, you got to light here in the UK anyway. You've got to light it with the right lamps and look after the soil. There are people who fucking really know, and they'll get perfect every time. Oh, you can chuck it in the ground and let it grow.
I'm still trying to control my drool. as like, I haven't learned to really control my lips and
Me too. I drool. I'm a drooler. When I'm trying to have a nap, sometimes I wake up and the pillow is just.
yeah, definitely had that going on.
Now, given that I travel a lot as well, when I fall asleep on a bus or a plane, I know I'm doing it. I'm conscious enough to know I'm doing it. I drool and my head drops down and then I go up like 100 times. So the people sitting next to me always get scared, I think. And I'm
You know,
drooling.
I'm going to confess something here that I probably shouldn't confess, and I'm not on alcohol or sodium pentothal or anything. When I was about 18 or 19, traveling alone for about 3 weeks, I became a bedwetter. You talk about waking up with drool. For those 3 weeks of my life, traveling alone in strange places,
Stress,
I would wake up in a puddle of my own piss.
anxiety, probably right.
Yeah,
It's
just
weird.
very.
Yeah, I know people that are bedwetted until they're like 14.
Yeah. No, I
But
became one at 19 and a half
that
or
is
something, and it only lasted like
that is
3 weeks, but it was like when I was taking bus trips all around America. Very weird. So, to me, it was like unexplainable and very aggravating because, I gotta clean the bed, I gotta fucking wash sheets now. Every day was like, what the hell's going on with me? It stopped when I
yeah,
when I
weird.
settled
It's got to
down.
be it's got to be some weird anxiety, like deep rooted anxiety that you've buried down because you're so macho, and then God, I'm alone, I'm traveling. What the fuck's happening?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you piss yourself as a response.
Well,
I don't
lots of
know.
crazy people, and I was traveling on Greyhound buses, which made it even more bizarre. I remember waking up, I'd fallen asleep on the bus, and waking up, this woman pushing me off. I was like, had my head on her breast, like, hey, get off me! Yeah, but yeah,
Oh
no,
no, I've fallen over.
but
Um,
yeah, I don't
yeah,
think I drool that much anymore, but I definitely have woken up with the, oh man, what happened? I'm spit all over myself.
yes, it's disgusting. Not when I sleep, but when I nap. When I nap, I have weird sleep, and yeah, I'm a bit of a drooler.
Yeah. I need better sleep. I was actually thinking I might get on sleeping pills. I might have to go to a doctor and say, "You know what? I need something to help
God
me
bless
sleep."
America. Come on, man. And I
Yeah.
guess if you really need them, get on it. Get on it. I took them. I've taken them a few times, but yeah, I prefer. I don't know, white noise. I'm a psychopath. If I didn't have this white noise, I'd probably be maiming women. Uh, but yeah, white noise in my ears. If I'm struggling to sleep, I stick on this. It's called the White Noise Podcast on Spotify, and they've got 8-hour tracks. And I listen
Oh
to
yeah.
one that just the noise of a plane. Like if you're sat on the plane, like it's just that. But I turn it up, it blocks out loads of sound, and it completely levels out my mind immediately. It's
That's a
weird.
good. Yeah, I might try something like that. Like in the stream noise, people have those, nature sounds and all that stuff. My
It's
wife uses
Yeah,
sleeping
it's hard.
pills.
It's hard with the headphones. I have these little Bluetooth pop-ins, but the battery will run out at 4 a.m. So there's a Chinese lady telling me to charge it, and that wakes me up. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't sleep. I don't sleep well at all. I'm to a point in my life where if I get 20 minutes of good sleep ever, that's a victory. It's like, wow,
That's
I had.
rough. That's
Yeah.
rough. I'm tired. I mean, you see, I'm tired most of the time here at the moment. I had a period where I was sleeping well, but recently no. I'm trying to go back to sleep, but it's difficult. So hopefully, I'm going to be more settled soon. In the
Are
next
you
day,
are
I'm
you ever
doing.
going are you ever going back, or are you gonna stay there forever?
I think so. I think unfortunately I'm gonna have to pull out of something. Not Edinburgh, but I'm gonna have to pull out of something that I really wanted to do before. I've got some administrative problems here. I've got to sort some shit out in the next 2 days. But I think I might. I'll be going somewhere more stable for a couple of weeks, and I'll be here a little bit longer than I thought, but not too long. I want to be home not long after the end of this month, but I'm
There's
gonna have
no
to
such
extend.
thing as home. Home is where you hang your hat.
Well, I haven't got a home, and secondly,
No such.
even when I go back, I've got stuff to do. I'll be going back and going straight to Edinburgh Festival. So I'll be going to Scotland. I could fly straight to Scotland and do
Hmm.
that, and then I need to set up a home. But I've obviously got another trip planned, so it's a weird year. I know it's not much to complain about, but eventually I will get a home set up. Hopefully late this year, I would think now.
Hmm.
Well,
All
I have
right.
a podcast studio and some nice things.
I have to say goodbye to Govs briefly, quickly.
Goodbye, governors.
But when I do, when
Who's
we
your
come
mother?
back in 1 second